Hey Maya, we back with you for a word. The second part of weight and prison of your emotions. Um, the second part is sacrifice. I'm gonna be looking at the saints, not you guys or Nehemiah. I'm gonna be looking at the saints, and this time I will try to talk openly when I'm talking to someone or about someone, so you'll know what I'm talking about. But the name of our ministry is Keys to the Kingdom. This is the second part of the word we had last week, which was weight and prison of your emotions. We're talking about emotions and how they are a prison to us. And we use the word perpetuate a lot. A lot of time we're repeating these things, just like a lot of time when folks go to jail, they don't usually get one day. They get a sentence that lasts a few days. And so they get to live one day at a time, one day at a time. It's perpetuated. A lot of time we stay in the prison for a long time. When someone's sad, they usually be sad for a while. Someone's angry, it's hard to get them back. They're gone for a while. Someone's depressed, hard to get them back. They be gone for a while. Same way with some of these really bad prison sentences. So our emotions are a prison. We want to be able to escape these redundant, these perpetual prisons of our emotions. Like we talked about Michaelin, which is my daughter, for those that are on YouTube. We talked about her and how she used to have really bad mood swings, which she doesn't have anymore. But she would stay in those mood swings for a little while before she came out. And so it is very common to know that our emotions lock us in. It's hard to escape them. This week it is about sacrifice. We have to learn that in order for us to escape these prisons of our emotions, we've got to be willing to make a sacrifice. We use my wife as an example. When I'm upset, don't you get upset too. We're both locked in that prison. One of us will have to make the sacrifice to go through something so that we can win in the end. That's what sacrifice is for. We listened to our nephew this morning do 27 years and some months and some days in prison. That's like the most incredible sacrifice because he's gone through something for a long time before he got the victory. Sacrifice is the key word this week. We got to be willing to make the sacrifice. Where did you find? Here we go. Ephesians 5. Ephesians 5. Bear with me as we strum through the word to get to Ephesians towards the back. Galatians, Colossians, Thessalonians. We went too far. It's before. Ephesians is after Galatians. How you gonna be in the word and don't know that, huh? Ephesians 5 and 25. Excuse the glasses as we get down in this word. Husbands, love your wives, even Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. And so that was interesting that the Lord said that. We're talking about sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Husband, love your wives as Christ, even Christ loved the church. And that was interesting, and the Lord brought that to my attention, that we're talking about Christ, but you're talking about a wife. You're talking about the church. You're talking about the wife. You're talking about church. Husband, love your wives. In other words, God is saying, if you think about the church, some people leave church because of the mess. You think that Christ is talking about his great love, and he is, but he's talking about there's going to be trouble in the church. Your wife can be a little bit of trouble for you. Not always lovey-dovey, not always wonderful. But God is saying, be ready to love in spite of. Somebody's got to make the sacrifice. Because you know what? God loves us in spite of ourselves. Christ still loves us. We all sitting up here know we ain't just the most wonderful thing that God has made. We're not sitting up here thinking, boy, Jesus didn't have to die for my sins because I got so little of them. It didn't take him much to save me because I was practically already saved. I'm so wonderful. You're not. And so the Lord was telling me that somebody has to make the sacrifice. He's talking about his love for the church. In other words, he died for sinners. He died for that you might be saved. He died for some folks that had some junk going on in their lives. God ain't just loving the church because the church is so wonderful. He made the ultimate sacrifice because these people needed Jesus. We're not going to heaven without him. But he loved us anyway. So today's word is about sacrifice. It's going to take the ultimate sacrifice because what? Of all the sin, the things that are going on. That's why we said in the word last week, when I'm on 10, don't you get on 10 too and match me. The word said, let the one with wisdom. Come to those that are without. Elijah could have came out here and said, really? You gonna sit on the couch? We went downstairs. We missed Steph Curry because mama said she had to get dressed. And you not coming to the game? Oh, that'd have been another 10. Oh, he wants to disrespect me? Although I'm wrong, you still can't disrespect me. So now you'd had 2 10s out here. And no matter how strong Elijah is, which he is stronger than me, he snatched my roller from me the other day. I couldn't hold on to it because he took it. He smacked something else out of my hand the other day. He's strong, but my words are stronger. If I come down on Elijah, I'll crush him like a foot to a grape. It wouldn't be right. But when you get 2 10s, somebody's going to get hurt. And I guarantee you, it's not going to be me. Not in my own house. But he came out here with wisdom. It's not even in his heart to come challenging his father who was out here acting like a 6-year-old kid. But he came to me with wisdom. He said, yeah, pray about it and come and watch the game. I said, come on, Dad. You gotta come. Because he came to me with that wisdom. He could have been upset that he done went downstairs and got into his gear and he making it a festive evening and he waited for us to come home first before he even turned it on. And now I'm out here on the couch. It could have hit him the wrong way. Ain't this about a blip? But came with the wisdom. Came with the word. He just heard the word last week and he's still elated. That's a good word right there. He said, yeah, but the word says. He said, that's the word. Couldn't deny him. I said, I want to, Elijah. I was locked in that prison, but he had the key. Yeah. So God is telling me that sacrifice, when you look at their marriage, look at how Christ loved the church, he made that sacrifice. It wasn't because the church was all wonderful. He had to come because we was clowning. We was going in the ways of the devil. Like all of y'all was on your way to hell before Jesus came. You was sure to go. We're going to make the wrong decision every time. We're going to count on ourselves. We're going to rely on ourselves. And Jesus saying, no. Got to rely on me. Got to do it my way. Got to make that sacrifice. The sacrifice is what? Deny myself for righteousness' sake, for holiness' sake. Needed the word last night because I was thinking that for my sake. Because we can't do but so much. We think of it in our own head and we come up with, this equals that and that equals this. That's as far as I can go. Because according to me, I decide that this is what I'm going to do. But we have to make that sacrifice. Not because of how good somebody is, how wonderful they are, but you got to make the sacrifice because of how terrible they are. That's what the sacrifice is for. You make the sacrifice to go to the gym, right, Elijah? Why? Because the six-pack ain't there no more. He ain't going to the gym because he got a six-pack. He going to the gym because of how out of shape he done got. The sacrifice is for how bad it is. That's what the sacrifice is for. He said, love your wives. Christ loved the church. What was he saying? Get ready, get ready, get ready. It might be a little rough sometime, but you got to hang in there anyway. Got to hang in there anyway. Wife said, 31 years going on. That's not because it's just pure bliss. That's because you got to hang in there anyway. You don't get to decide. All these people getting divorces. Why? Because they decided. You don't get to decide. See, we're talking about these lines you cannot cross. They're walls, but you reduce them to lines, and you made them blurry. So you just walk across the line like it ain't no thing. You ain't supposed to be talking about divorce. It's supposed to be a wall, but to the world, it's just a blurry line. Hey, you're not getting along, call it off. Tell you that, hey, you ain't never got to worry about me. There's the door. Really? So God didn't make that a wall in your life? These are things that you don't go past? Not a wall with a door on it, a wall. Not a line, but a wall. Things you don't do. But in order not to do those things, you got to do what?
Make a sacrifice.
Make the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. We like to tell Mama at grocery time, you bought pop. I can't drink pop. Who made a sacrifice a long time ago? No more pop. Yes, it tastes good. Of course it does. But it won't allow you to keep the six-pack. And you can't believe mama's crossing those lines. There should be a wall. No pop. You bought pop. You act like she's committed a crime when she come home. You bought pop. You're getting ready to tempt me. When I open the refrigerator, I see pop. You know I can't drink pop. Don't put it in the refrigerator. You can't believe this. She crossed that line. I'm making a sacrifice here. Now you tempting me with this pop.
I meant to take that pop.
Then mama said, "You drinking up all dad's lemonade." And Elijah's like, "Well, I need a lemonade. I can't drink pop." So now mama got to buy him lemonade. Because he don't want to fall back on his sacrifice. I'm done with the pop of sacrifices. No more pop in my life. So he made that sacrifice, and she, by the pop, is like, you're not honoring my position. You can't do that.
That's Michael. She wants pop.
Yeah. She's the one with them blurry lines. Like, hey, if you need to cross the line, you cross the line. It's no real lines here. You want to eat whatever you want to eat, then you eat it if you're hungry. Right. There's no set rules.
Right. Yeah, she was.
Ooh. Be very afraid. Don't have them set rules. Set the rules up. Don't eat in your room. Don't eat in your room. Then guys in the gray flannel suits show up in your house.
Come on now.
Because you eat in the room, they'd be like, hey, party over here, we wants to eat too. If you don't know who the guys in the gray flannel suits are, those are mice.
Those are mice, and they come with cousins.
They have on the gray flannel suits, they wear gray all the time.
Yeah.
And they come to the party, you don't want to follow the rules, and you say, I can eat in my room no matter what mama say, and the mice say, hey, show you right. And we can eat with you. We just want what you leave behind. And then you look up and see them in the room, it's like, hey, how did you get here? You wasn't supposed to be here. But they coming. Because if you can't follow the rules, they might say, hey, this is a ruleless situation here. Ain't no rules, fellas. Dig in. That's what those rules are for. And the laws and the lines are for, so the sin don't creep in. So the unlawfulness doesn't creep in, so the unruliness don't creep in. Like we're telling Michael, get some rules. You don't want to be out at 1 or 2 o'clock at night. Because now you're out there with the lawless. And anything goes with them until they get caught. And you right out there, you're either going to be the victim or you're going to be a part of it at some point. So I make sure I'm not out there. Because I know if I'm driving at 2 o'clock at night and they throw a rock and bust my window and call me the N-word, I'm opening the door. And I'm coming out and one of us going to commit a crime. But if I hadn't have been out there, if I was asleep in my bed, then they can't come on. Mr. Crowder, somebody got beat up last night. Were you there? Nope, I was in the bed asleep. But if they come, Mr. Crowder, somebody's out there with your handprint on their face. Was you out there? Well, yeah, I was out there. He called me the word. Well, it doesn't matter. You're going to prison. Because I was out there. Got to be able to draw those lines, put up those walls. And we need those things. And we make that sacrifice. But it keeps us in line. There are certain lines you can't cross just because you're angry. Heck, I've been toiling here for all these years. You don't like what I put down? I'm out. Oh, really? So the Lord said, well, if you don't like her, leave her. That's not in the Bible. If you don't like him, leave him. It ain't in the Bible. But because you got these blurry lines and no walls, no concrete set things that make you follow certain things, then we watching the fan on us. Because we beating on the table. But if you don't like to follow rules and laws and get these walls up in your life, it opens you up to setting your own rules and your laws and your lines. You decide. I decide what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. I'm in charge. The 21-year-olds say, I'm grown now. We finna stretch the lines out a little bit. They've been too tight. Can't live in this little square box no more. We about to show you how we living. Not little Joy, but Devontae, when he turned, I think it was 21, or he graduated from college, I think it was. He said, "Oh, I'm about to show you what I can do." And Joy said, "I'm gonna have to get him on the phone." I'm sorry, I'm talking about my brother and his son. My brother Joy said he's gonna have to get his son on the phone to reel him back in. I had to tell Joy, I was like, he been living under his mother's roof for a while. He just graduated from college. That's all he's talking about, is that now he's on his own. He's not finna paint the town, but he's just saying he's on his own. But little Joy was declaring it. Oh, I'm about to show y'all how I can do it. So he was getting ready to be free in every way he could think of. But don't think, and I'll close with this. We're talking about the sacrifice. Don't think that when you draw your own lines, your own walls, that it gives you freedom. It doesn't. It doesn't give you freedom. It brings you into bondage.